Open your eyes, your mind, your heart. Let's have a school choice conversation.
Welcome to Choice Conversations. We're delighted today. Our guest is Kenneth Campbell with IDEA Public Schools. Ken is IDEA's Executive Director for Southern Louisiana. Ken, thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here.
For those not familiar with IDEA schools, talk about your existence here in Louisiana.
Yeah, so IDEA is actually a national, not a national really, kind of mostly Texas-based charter school organization. For the past 15 years has been in Texas educating kids and families. And so Louisiana is the first expansion outside of the state of Texas. And so what we're here to do is the same thing that IDEA has done in Texas, which is just provide a great education for kids. And I like to believe that our work is about creating great places for kids to go to school and for adults to work and build a career. And if we can do that, you know.
What made Louisiana attractive?
A few things made Louisiana attractive. One, I think the idea of Baton Rouge, the fact that we could be in a community where you had deep poverty like you have in a lot of other communities, but that felt manageable. That had, I think, a group of civic business leaders who wanted change desperately and who could help to go out and try to work to make an environment that was going to allow any organization that was going to come in and do great things for kids successful. And the ability to have a school system in this instance that is friendly to what we're trying to do and has been great partners in the work.
It's always a challenge, particularly with a very competitive environment for education with choice.
Yeah.
So how did you were able to get the word out and get people to say that this is a good idea for Louisiana?
Yeah, I think it's still ongoing. I think it's an ongoing proposition. I think the more choice we're able to introduce into the system, I think the better consumers parents become, and I think the more demanding parents become. Jeff Bezos, who heads Amazon, in his annual letter last year, he talked about the customers being divinely discontent, right? And so like this whole idea of parents, when they start to know that they could exercise choice and they start to navigate choice environments, their expectations rise each time they do that. So I get in a place and this is a little bit better, but now if I switch, I want even better than that. And I think that's a great thing for all of us. I think it pushes us to try to be better. And so as parents hear about us and we make commitments and promises to them, I think, word of mouth is huge because parents who are happy, they talk to other parents, they talk to family members. That's been huge for us. And then we do some of the standard things that everybody does. We do, marketing campaigns. So we've done a little bit of TV, we've done a lot of radio, and our teams are out on the ground all the time talking to kids and families. This weekend we had what we call Super Recruiting Saturday in Baton Rouge, and so we probably had 60 people or so out block walking, knocking on doors, meeting people. We had booths and tents set up at a couple of retail establishments to meet families, all about giving them an opportunity to know who we are and what we do, and to ask them to give us a shot and see if we could do a great job for their kids.
Are you running into some very engaged and empowered parents?
Absolutely. Engaged, empowered, skeptical, all the things that you would expect parents to be, and I think that's great.
What sets IDEA apart from perhaps other charter school operators?
A few things. First, I think we all come in with this strong commitment to wanting to improve educational outcomes for students. But I think what we do better than a lot of organizations is, one, the combination of, one, rigorous content for students, right? So that kids are always being pushed to a level to where they could achieve success, but it is a struggle for them. But I actually think that's super important to do. The second one, I think, is we have to be really good at coaching and developing teachers. And so for us, teachers and leaders, I think we try to make sure we're the best at that we can be. There aren't a whole bunch of superstar rock stars out there who are descending. You have to meet people who are who have the passion for what it is they want to do, who have the skill. You have to grow them and you have to develop them. And I want us to be the best at growing and developing teachers of any organization in the state. The third, I think, is just this idea that we're not going to let anything stand in the way of what it is we're trying to accomplish. When people talk about no excuses, often it feels like something punitive around kids, but for us it's the adult context. It's that we believe and know in our heart that these kids have college potential, not just to college, but through college. The question is, what does that make us do on a daily basis? And what does data show us, and what does that make us do on a daily basis? The commitment has to be there, and I think it just has to be matched by, just a strong belief in our children. And if you have that, I think you can, be successful.
You mentioned college, and when you go to the IDEA website, you're going to see something that's going to make you go like, whoa, what is this? 100% college bound.
Yes.
100% of our kids are college bound.
Yeah.
That's bold.
It is.
And how do you pull that off?
It takes a lot of work. But first of all, again, is that belief in that commitment. And then, it like I said, it's what does that then make you do? So we have a whole college success team at IDEA. And they do really two pieces of work. The first piece is the to-college piece of the work. Our curricular programs and making sure that our kids are taking AP courses, all of our kids, so that they are prepared for college and that they don't have to go in and take remedial courses. We have counselors, right? One per about every 100 kids or so. So the kids are, ready to go in college. They get a lot of support. And from the, 6th grade on, we're doing college field lessons so that we're, helping to make kids understand that they actually belong in college, that they could actually go there and they could actually do well. So that's, a first piece of work. And then the second piece of the work is the work around making sure that every kid who gets to college is successful, because it's not enough just to get them accepted into college. Our belief is that the through college work is just as important. So we have a whole team of people that does nothing but work with IDEA alums who are making sure that they are, that their course load stays at a level that's ensured they're making progress, that's tracking their grades on a regular basis to ensure that they're progressing in college, that we could provide resources if they need it. We're setting up partnerships with colleges so that we want schools that understand our students and they're prepared to support them in ways that some colleges aren't. You have to put your money where your mouth is. And, there's a whole saying, if you want to know somebody's values, look at where they spend their money. We spend a significant amount of money on the to and through college work.
And Ken, are you finding that a lot of the students in this 100% are first generation?
Almost all.
And what impact is that going to have on the families?
Yeah, almost all. And it's great because, we now are at a point at IDEA where we actually have, students who graduated from IDEA, gone to college. Many of them have come back to teach at IDEA. It's just been, it has been life-changing for so many families.
It is very important. Compare what you see in Louisiana as New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And again, in New Orleans, those who follow know that there's choice,
Yes,
and more choice, and all choice.
Yes.
But in a place like Baton Rouge, do you find it has been slower to adapt charter schools, and are you seeing a turn at the corner in this?
So two things. First, I'm excited about New Orleans because we are going to launch in New Orleans in August. We have our 2 campuses here in Baton Rouge, and so excited about New Orleans opening in August. We'll be in New Orleans East, so that should be fun and exciting. I think there are a couple of important differences. First, in Baton Rouge, we're working with the school board that has not had tons of experience with charters. They've had a small number of charters. They, for the most part, have done very well. And I think the school board is in a place where they now see charters growing and expanding and trying to get their arms around that and what that means for the future of education in Baton Rouge. We're excited because our schools are Type 1 charters. They were approved by the local district. The superintendent and the board members, we believe, have been great partners to us. And we see and believe that we have to be a part of the overall district success. To me, it's not enough that we do a great job for the few thousand kids that we educate. If we can't translate our success beyond our doors and our, then I feel like it will be a missed opportunity. So as we think about that partnership with Baton Rouge and we think about the challenges that the district faces as a whole, we want to be part of the solution. We actually want to be, just really, really strong, problem solvers with them. We actually want to help them if there are resources that we can help to jointly identify. How do we do that work in such a way that it's not always, charter versus district, that what we're talking about are kids and families. And we all, I think, have some responsibility for them.
Is the plan for IDEA to expand not only in Baton Rouge, New Orleans East, but other parts of the state?
Yeah, well, right now we're thinking about this, the I-10 corridor, really between New Orleans and Lafayette, and what we're able to do there. We by latest counts, there are about 135,000 kids that we believe are in underperforming schools just along that corridor. If we can partner with superintendents to be able to do strong work for kids and families, I think that means a lot. So we're really pleased that with the partnerships with EBR, superintendent's been great. With New Orleans, it's been great. We hope to be able to do things in district after district.
Ken, your background is quite impressive, and your work, you just didn't start yesterday. You worked with the Louisiana Department of Education, the Black Alliance for Educational Options, known as BAO, and now Idea Public Schools. How do you think this array of experiences has best prepared you and set you up to be helpful and be of service to not only the idea of choice, but for families and for students?
It's so funny you mentioned this. It feels like I've been doing this for a really long time. And I think what has most set me up for success are two things. First is to understand that this work is, the work we do in education really is about changing lives. And it's about, saving kids from poverty. At the end of the day, if we don't understand that that's what it's about, I think we just feel like, we get up each day and we're marching along and we're doing the work, but it doesn't have, the kind of critical connection to what we need to do for kids and families. And so I wake up every day, praying for our kids, thinking about our kids, and hoping that in each instance, we've been able to live up to the promise of a great teacher in every classroom and a great leader for every school. But kind of understanding that it's not so much about education as it is about saving our families, our kids, and our communities. That's one. The second one, I think, is having, developing your own healthy sense of skepticism. I've been doing this long enough now that I've seen so many different reforms come and go. And to get to the point to where you understand that even though we use the charter school vehicle to do our work really is about teaching and learning, whatever structure that takes on. And, to understand that there are great charter schools, there are charter schools that, just need to be closed and aren't doing well. There are great traditional public schools and those that, that I would never send my kid to. And the same with private schools, and I think we get so hung up in structure and who owns what and the politics and all those things. Yeah. Versus saying, how can we scale quality teaching? That's what the work should be about. And so when we got started here, one of the things we did early on was sit down with our academic team, with the East Baton Rouge Parish academic team, to kind of share, this is what we're using for math, this is what we're using for ELA. What are you using? What are some opportunities that might exist for us to partner together and work together on some of these? Because again, if we believe, as I think we have to believe, that they're all our kids, then we have to be about that kind of work. So, I just feel like I'm in a place where, more partnerships are important, where additional collaboration is important, and I think we have people who are willing and able to do that, but you have to go out with an extended hand, and I think you have to set a vision out there. And so when I talk about, extending beyond our walls to be able to educate, I have no idea how we're going to do that yet, but I just think if I put it out there enough, right, enough other smart people will get together and somehow we'll figure it out. And I think that's the promise that we have to have for our kids and families.
This may be a very tough final question, but if you had to point to one success story, what you've done, who comes to mind? You don't have to identify the person exactly, but because again, it impacts directly children and families' lives.
Honestly, I think we had a family advisory council a few weeks ago where families come in and they talk about their experiences with IDEA, good, bad, and indifferent, and how they feel. And I think the thing that impressed me most was a parent with a special ed child who, talked just so passionately about feeling like for the first time they had a great place, for their child to be. I can't imagine being a parent who desperately wants my kid to have a great education, but not feeling like any of the places that I go can do that, either out of lack of will, lack of skill, or whatever that may be. And to have this parent after really 4 or 5 months, really believe that they had found the best place for the first time, it just meant a lot to me, especially when I know, as the leader, that we still got so much more to do and so much growing to do. We're going to continue to get better at this, but just to hear that and to hear that was, just for her, like, unbelievable that she had found a place after, so many years. That, to me, is kind of what this is all about.
Absolutely. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
And that is this edition of Choice Conversations. We'll talk to you next time.
Open your eyes.